Hello everybody, this is Jack Askey from Teaching ESL Online, and joining me today to talk about creating videos and also social media is Michael Marzio. Now Michael, through his Real English website, has managed to reach thousands if not millions of English learners by creating real English videos, and with over 500,000 likes on his Facebook page and 35,000 subscribers on YouTube, he certainly knows how to resonate with an audience. So, Michael, thank you for joining us today and welcome to Teaching ESL Online.
Well, thank you, Jack. Thanks a lot for inviting me to be one of your guests.
It's great to have you here. So, could you just give an introduction to yourself, talk about your background, and then tell us about your website, realeNglish.com?
Okay. Well, way back in the early 70s, I came to Paris on a vacation, and a friend of mine was already teaching English in Paris, and she asked me if I wanted to stay for a year and teach English in Paris. And I said, oh, sure. And, well, I've been here ever since, going back to the States very regularly, of course, but basically living in France. And after teaching in different schools, so two schools actually, in Paris, I figured out how to create a language school. We're talking, of course, about good old brick and mortar language schools. First for an employer in Lyon, and then after learning the ropes, I decided to go farther south so as not to be in competition with them, and created my own language school in Avignon, and then later on farther to the south, and that's where I still am now, in the town of Istres, which is near the industrial sites near Marseille. So it was quite an adventure. My background was in a BA in philosophy, and then I did master's work in English education in NYU before coming to France. So it was nevertheless the fact that I did work in English education and the fact that I started a language school was nevertheless more or less a coincidence. In fact, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I just was lucky to find opportunities to create the school. And that was at a time when the internet did not exist, of course. On the other hand, we had big old clunky machines to create video cassettes. So my very first videos to use with my students in class were made with my British teachers, who were just fantastic comedians, besides being good teachers. And we made our first Monty Python type of videos in the late 70s and early 80s, which had a lot of success and were sold in Paris as VHS cassettes at the time. And later on, we're going now to the 90s. In the early 90s, I just simply noticed that in my school, the students would always come back from there. Well, I should mention that I've always taught adults only and working adults, people who really need English. I've never taught youngsters or teenagers or children, all just professional people. And they would come back from their business meetings in the States or in England, and they would say, and they would always say, well, it was easy to speak to Mr. So-and-so about anything that had to do with work or about technical things, but when we had to sit around the dinner table, it became very difficult to speak about the weather. So I just said, well, I said to myself after a while, why don't I just go to the States and go to England and start filming people speaking naturally, spontaneously, and bringing back this fast, so-called fast speech, spontaneous speech, so that the students could actually work with what they were going to encounter later, instead of the what I call the classroom English tapes, which often, especially at that time, often featured slow speaking audio tapes and such materials like that. And sometimes with teachers who had the bad habit of speaking artificially slow, much too much. And well, in 1994, I began showing these videos in class and using them as teaching material, and they were very well liked by my own students. And my teachers used them, and they had the same success that I did with it. So I say, hey, maybe I should keep on doing this. So that's what I did. I kept on working on the Real English videos, and every time I went for a vacation to the States or went to England just for filming, I began to create a video library, which is really quite large now. And it's all spontaneous street interviews. There are no actors. It's just people being themselves and answering specific questions. And of course, it's now has been online since 1994, and it's been growing steadily ever since then. Slowly but surely into a rather vast collection of videos now. And they're used, as you mentioned, by quite a few people around the world, by both teachers and students.
Great. So you took the library, from all those years creating videos, and you took that library. Did you put all those videos online, the ones that you made from, a long time ago?
No. I should also mention that in the beginning, I would have to film 20 people before getting one video that was acceptable. Simply because people speak, sometimes it just goes too far in the spontaneity. People make too many grammar mistakes sometimes. And there are certain limits as to how far reality is useful, in a sense.
Sure. So did you start specific topics and try to lead people into saying, using specific maybe grammar structures, for example?
Yes, exactly. We were using the most popular, we still do, books that all the other language schools in France are using, such as materials from Oxford and OUP and Pearson. So since we were used to using these books, and since they made sense to us the way they were organized, I decided to more or less follow the general consensus of these British publishers, in fact. And the lessons reflect the majority opinion of these publishers, in the sense that it's both grammatical and it's organized both by grammatical and by social functions, such as, hi, how are you, what's your name, usually to begin with, and then where are you from. Extremely classic in content. On the other hand, the result is such a huge difference from what is found in the videos and in the audio material from the big publishers. So it's a fantastic supplement, in my humble opinion, to what we find in the books from the big publishers.
Great.
It brings the same material to life in a certain sense.
Perfect. Yeah. And just to let everyone know, I'm going to have good examples below this video and on my blog page with examples of the videos that Michael produces. Now, talking about going online, so you went online in 1994. I imagine that your website has changed a lot since then.
Yeah, it certainly has. Yeah. Um, I did it myself, and that was one of my weakest points. I'm not very good with HTML. And in those days, there were no easy ways to make sites. You had to learn HTML. And it was my first sites were very primitive, but they worked. I just made sure that they all worked. Um, and I used a great exercise maker, which still exists, and which I still use for some of the materials, which is called Hot Potatoes, which is well known by many teachers. And it's great material. It's great software to make interactive exercises for my materials, for my videos, because you can make any possible type of exercise that you can imagine with it. It's the most flexible software in the world as far as languages go, or any kind of education, in fact. I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent. Did I answer your question there?
Well, it leads me into another question, which is on your website. So you host your video and you have different exercises. Now, is it like a specific lesson plan that learners go through? And what else is included in each of those lessons?
The best way for me to go through this is to just do some screen sharing now.
Perfect.
Here we are at the starting point of Real English. The student or the teacher immediately has 4 choices here. As you can see in the first one, if they're using a tablet or a smartphone, we want to send them away from this site and to a completely different site, which is the mobile site, which I began creating about 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now. The second choice you see here is the Real English Lessons. Now that's on this site, the full site. And those are the two basic choices. So for example, since the mobile site is under construction, so to speak, although there's at least 100 hours of work already there, and it is available to everybody. I will click on that link to show you the mobile site.
Great.
And very, very quickly point out that the site map is probably the best way to find the content. As you can see, I have both the names of the lessons and then links to the quizzes here. In this case, for example, I'm going to click on 8D, numbers, dates. And that will take us to that particular video. And there's always a regular version without subtitles, and then the same video with subtitles.
Just to say, Michael, it's great to have that difference. You know, for those who want to, who need the subtitles, but then to practice again later without them, it's great to have that difference there.
Yeah, I always encourage students and teachers to have the students watch the video without subtitles, do the exercises, and then when they're done with the exercises, then to come back here and look at the subtitled version. The full site what I call the full site to distinguish it from the mobile site is actually much richer in interactive content than the mobile site is. For the mobile site, I'm limited to using pictures and video, of course. I cannot use audio only, as I can't use Java for certain interactive functions. Cannot use quite a few things that I can use in the full site. I wanted to show you. I happened to choose a quiz that had no pictures in it, but here, let's look at this one. The pictures are important to me simply because it's another way to convey meaning.
Mm-hmm.
The videos always convey meaning, but sometimes they need a little help. After watching the video here, they will be able to choose the correct answer. On the mobile site, there are 3 different types of exercises. We have matching, multiple choice, of course, and true and false. Whereas on the full site, there are about 10 different types of exercises. Okay, so let me go back to the full site. Just one second. Like I say, it's under construction, and it's interactive. It's 40, at least 100 hours of work, and I'm going to get back to it soon. Now, if you click here, Real English Lessons, this is where I've been working the longest. This is where you'll find my best work. And I tend to emphasize the beginner level and intermediate level. And I'm frankly weak on advanced English. On the other hand, so many people are shocked by the spontaneity of the speech that the so-called intermediate lessons are often considered advanced for many students, especially students who have never left their home country or have never been immersed in English in any way.
Definitely, I think the spontaneity of the videos and the real English conversation is something that a lot of intermediate students need, don't they? They need that kind of exposure and that interaction with that type of English, and I think it's important to have that for your intermediate learners.
I want to show this. Thank you. Yeah, I want to show this quickly. This is my most recent lesson, filmed Miami Beach. The principle is always the same, of having the normal video first and the subtitled video after it. And this is called the main lesson page, as I mentioned. On the left you have the content, such as the verb tenses, summary of what might be new vocabulary, various remarks, and this is true for each of the interviewees, and there are 8 of them in this particular case. So here we have links where we could go directly to one of these people, or we could begin at the very beginning with the very first interviewee. There are between 20 between 10 and 20 exercises for each of these interviewees. Let's look quickly at Pete and Marion. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. However, it's not long. It's 50 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think the audio is coming through because of it's coming through your earphones.
Oh, right. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but again, this is a video. I'll be able to embed this as well on the blog post for this interview.
Okay. Should I explain a little bit about the exercises, do you think, or?
Sure. So, but basically, what happens is there's an interview. There's like a spontaneous interview about a specific topic. And what is this topic about? This one?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. I should have. The best way to tell you is to go back to that screen I was just at. I should have spent more information, spent more time there to give you more information.
Yeah, I saw the question at the top. It's something like about comparing countries, isn't it? Have you ever lived in a foreign country?
You can see right here. Have you ever lived in another country or spent a month or more in a foreign country? Is there anything that you prefer or dislike about the U.S. compared to your country? Obviously, we're filming in the USA. In fact, we're in Miami Beach. The answer is this was a good question for Miami Beach because I'm in an area called South Beach in South Miami Beach, where you have extreme cultural diversity, and half of the people on the streets are from places throughout the world. South Beach reminds me of the internet itself because you find not only Americans there but people from all over the world. In fact, in this particular lesson, Jeanette, the second person, she's British. Manuel is Portuguese, but you can't tell because she's completely bilingual. Danielle is American. Carlos is Cuban. I say Cuban, but they're all, they all speak English fluently, or American English fluently. Or in this case, for example, you have, like I said, Jeanette, who is British, and you also have, Renee is an American. Utkarsh is from India originally, but he grew up in Britain, in Great Britain, and he was educated in the USA. He was very interesting. And Sophie is from Russia and speaks fluently, but she speaks with an accent. So I said to myself, people with accents, it doesn't matter because it's something that the students are going to run into sooner or later, and let's keep real English real and have the variety of cultures and accents.
It is great to have that, especially for more advanced speakers when they have to try to understand lots of different types of accents. When you think about like the films and movies, TV shows they want to watch, interaction with people they want to have, then they need to be exposed to lots of different accents and ways of speaking.
Would you agree? I'm betting my life on that.
Yeah. Well, good. So yeah, I just see this, this website being a great resource for English teachers, when they're looking for not only exercises and specific lesson plans, but also, these videos where with the subtitles as well, which is such a valuable resource.
Since I'm here, excuse me for interrupting, since I'm here, I want to point out a new feature, which I'm adding to all the lessons, but this is where I began it. When you click on Help, you get a video, a little video tutorial, which can last 10 seconds, or in some cases it lasts as long as 70 or 90 seconds. And I really like these tutorials because I know that you can't hear anything, but I just want to point out that by showing the student what to do, you don't need any language instructions.
Hmm.
All of the instructions are shown, um, which something I should have begun doing such a long time ago, and the idea just never came to me. But since this works so well, I'm adding it to all the existing lessons. There are so many things to do. I wanted to work on the mobile site, but this is such important work also that it's just difficult to decide what to work on. There are so many things to do
Yeah,
with
I
a site like this.
know exactly what you mean. Well, good. So let's move on now and talk about
Yeah,
creating videos. Okay, so um, if you could stop the screen share, it's doing that fun thing again.
right.
Good. So here you are back again. Good. So talk about creating videos now. So again, with the way that you've produced your videos, the way that you've shown them to people through the old style, VHS. Now it's online. I imagine there's also been many changes with the way you've recorded videos as well, and the equipment that you use.
Oh yeah, I've gone through about 27 different cameras since the very beginning.
Wow.
It's the technological aspect of this is mind blowing. In 1994, I had a camera that was very expensive, and the quality I get from it is like the lowest setting on the cheapest mobile device today.
It's incredible.
The technology has just changed. Well, to me it seems very rapid, but it has been quite a few years. In any case, yeah. On the other hand, despite the way the cameras have changed so dramatically, I started with Adobe Premiere way back in the 90s, and that's what I'm still using. The pro version of Adobe. I think in English we call it Premiere, and not Premiere, as I would tend to say. In any case, Adobe Premiere is something that the average user is not going to use. The only reason I have such a high-end program is because I learned how to use it when it was with version 1. And when you learn usually how to use version 1 of something, you tend to keep with it, and then just keep up with the improvements as it improves, which is the only reason why I have such an expensive video editing program. Otherwise, I'd be using something free on the web today, which makes me useless basically to give advice to people beginning to do video editing, because all I know is Premiere, and I can't imagine anyone investing in Premiere, to be honest with you.
Sure. So that's one software program that you've just kept, going with, because obviously you're used to
Yeah.
using that. As you say, there are a lot of options available today, and a lot of free versions and versions that come. For example, there's iMovie that comes with Macs these days, and there are some really good features on that program. But generally speaking, what tips do you have for English teachers who are saying, okay, I want to create some videos for my learners. I want to be have a presence on YouTube, because obviously you've been very successful on YouTube. What kind of advice would you give to that teacher?
Have a good idea of what you want to do, and do planning. And make sure that you choose a unique niche. If you don't, no one's going to find a reason to go to your YouTube channel. That's my first bit of advice. The second bit of advice to me, which is the second most important, is don't move the camera. Put it on a tripod and don't move it. To give an appearance of professional work. Unless you're an artist, and you'll have other reasons to move to move around your camera. But if you're not an artist with a particular idea in mind, just keep the camera still and let the images around you do the moving. Those are my two most basic, my two most important bits of advice. I could expand on the first one.
Yeah, just to say, I think the first tip is so fundamental, isn't it? Is to choose something to talk about, a certain problem that needs solving, or to speak to a specific type of English learner, whether that be like an intermediate learner, an advanced learner, for exam-based learners as well. So just to choose something and really speak to that one audience.
Yes, yeah. If you look at the successful people on YouTube who have far more subscribers than I do, take, for example, Rachel's English. Basically what she does is pronunciation, but she's figured out how to do it in an interesting, funny way. It's her niche is pronunciation, but then she puts a niche on the niche by making it humorous pronunciation video. Again, do something that's really fun for you and something that's unique for the whole world. That's my most important bit of advice for young people.
That's fantastic. Now, just through talking with you today, it seems like you've been someone who's really adapted to changes, like the online world, adapting to YouTube and putting videos there. And also another one is Facebook, because you have over 500,000 likes on your Facebook page. So tell us a little bit about how you first started with Facebook and what you do to reach that number of likes on your page.
I hate to say this, but in one sense, Facebook is a farce. In the sense that last February, no, excuse me, last October, my Facebook page suddenly went viral for a reason I never understood. But 3 weeks after going viral, Facebook changed their algorithm and it stopped being viral. In other words, last October, I had 500, how much was it? Let me see, how many do I have right now?
I think it's 550,000 at the moment.
585 actually.
585.
Yeah. In October, it was about 575. So I got 500,000 likes in the space of 1 month, and ever before then and ever since then, it's been like normal, like this, say like maybe I don't know, maybe 50 per week, whereas at one point it was like 5,000 a day, or things like that.
That's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, not all the sites went viral. The channels or the pages. The only Facebook pages that went viral were already of good quality, and I maintain the same quality. And the only reason I created the Facebook page was to try to get people to go to my site. But there are so many people who come here and they just want to look at my Facebook page. And I want to get them onto the site, because on the site they can actually learn English, whereas on Facebook, I mean, you can only do so much with a Facebook page when it comes to learning English. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry to disappoint you with my reply to Facebook. I think what I should do is concentrate on Google Plus, in fact, because I'm more likely to get people to make the change from that social platform to my site than Facebook to my site.
Yeah.
It's just, once again, there are so many different things to do. I haven't gotten to working much with Google Plus yet.
No, Google Plus is it's really improving all the time in my opinion anyway, and especially if you're working with YouTube because all those accounts are linked and your page is linked to your YouTube page. So yeah, if you're using YouTube, then I do recommend being active on Google Plus as well. Well, Michael, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really interesting to hear about your story, the way you've adapted, your focus on videos as well, and to see your site. So thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you, Jack. I really appreciate it. I wish I had prepared a little bit more and had been a little bit more coherent, but at least I got the message out there more or less, I suppose.
Oh, you did, definitely, definitely. And people find this really useful. English teachers are going to find this really useful. And as I mentioned, everything will be below the blog post, and I'll summarize this interview too. So thanks everyone for watching, and see you next time. Bye, Michael.
Bye-bye.